Okay, now my mic is unmuted. That was interesting. I don't know where it stopped or what happened, but it apparently died on me, my internet connection. So I had to reboot my old computer because it was just not picking up the fact that I was actually back online. So, yay. I don't know where it left off. I could watch the video and see where I was, but I'm just going to kind of go from where I think I was. Let me get my music back up and running because that's important. So let's go home here. I just want to grab this link and I want to put it into Blue Sky here. And so you can see all of my wonderful comments. There. Okay, cool. Then I got to select the stream here. Yep, that one. Cool. All right, and then let's get it watching over here. Just do that and this. And go to view channel. And you should see now that I'm take 2. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to go from where I thought I was. So hopefully this doesn't crash again. I've had my furnace crash on me, which it's still not completely fixed. The guy had to order a part, and it doesn't come in until Tuesday or Wednesday. It's what the unit actually is saying by the code. It's the pressure switches. They're not opening or closing like they should. But the way to work around it is where it connects to the actual furnace. He said one thing you could do is just pull that hose out, and then he said you gotta be really careful with this, but you just suck a little bit, and you don't, because otherwise if you do it too hard, it would blow the gaskets out, and then it wouldn't work at all. But what we realized before we left is it wasn't kicking back in. But what we can do is we can just pull the hose out, and then turn it off and turn it on again. You can just pull that out and put it back into the furnace, and then it kicks in. So like every 4 or 5 hours, I can tell it's starting to get a little cooler in the house, and so I'll just go in there and spend a minute to do that and reboot the system, so to speak. So that'll hopefully all be fixed on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I don't have to get up at 2 or 3 in the morning just to come downstairs and do that. But hey, I also, whenever these things come up, I'm like, yes, they're annoying. Have to acknowledge that. But there's also so many other things in life that could go wrong. Count the blessings, so to speak. So hopefully it's funny, like 4 or 5 years ago when I was working at home, I wouldn't get it constantly, but there would be occasions where my router and my connection would just be abysmal, a real pain. And working from home, you need that. And after much communication with a wonderful internet service provider that shall remain nameless, apparently the wire that was coming to my house was causing a bunch of feedback is the best way. And so what they did, and this is all free, is they basically ran another cable underground all the way around the back of my house and put a connection in on the other side. And ever since then, I've only had like the random occasional down where like this just happened this morning. So, oh well. I really wish I had fiber, but I don't think it's ever going to happen in my neighborhood. Where was I? I was doing something with AutoDeconstruct, right? Yeah, so we were saying if it's an assembly, then we can just do what I'm doing right now. Otherwise, if it's a type, we just do it for that target type. So here, we basically want to find all of the so the current way I'm doing it is I'm saying if the thing is a type declaration, then get declared symbol and do all that stuff. But what I want to do here is I want to say var assembly types is assembly symbol get can you do that? Well, that's a little bit of a kicker. I thought there was a way to say modules. There should only be one. No. I have to look this up. C#, Roslyn. Get all types. You can use the following symbol visitor helper. Do I have something like this in Rocks? There's a whole bunch of extension methods I have. Nope, I do not. But I could use something like this and if you want to start searching your all types, you can do compilation. Ah. Okay. What kind of context? That's generator context. Why does everything have to be so hard? Come on. This should not be that difficult. There we go. No. What was he talking about in that? He was saying compilation global namespace. The root namespace that contains all the namespaces and types defined in source code or in reference metadata merge into a single namespace hierarchy. Oh, there. Okay, so it's starting to get to where I want to go. So this one that somebody created is just, it's a symbol visitor. Okay, so you're giving it... You have a public types, which is that. And I don't think I really care about that. And then you have an extension method like this to say, is it accessible outside of assembly, which is, this is going down a rabbit hole. This is really, and I don't care about that. I just care about, really, is the type, is it a type defined in this? I don't care if it's, get all types from compilation. Fine. And I will give credit to where credit is due. Don't worry. We're going to call this a assembly types collector or compilation. Okay, and then we're going to say lifted / inspired from that. So I'm going to say CO class that. We don't really care about an estimated capacity. And what are you complaining about here? Yeah, I know. Not my style. Let's call these just types. That's fine. So this is a good reminder. There are these visitors, and sometimes I just forget that you can do this kind of stuff. This dot. Do we have a value? No, we just want to say is a new hash set. Fine. And then we have this, which we're going to say this dot types. I don't think we really care about canceling, because if we come in here, there's no way to cancel off of the context, right? There's no cancellation token there. Oh, there is. There is. Okay, so we do want to preserve that. Fine. Fine. Okay, so we don't care about this, but we're saying if not add this dot types, and we always do a block body. Come on, people. We could do it the other way around, which is if you did add this, then let's do this. And if it's not default and empty, we will do this. We say var, we say this. And so basically you're just traversing all of the way I'm interpreting this is you're traversing all of the namespaces, including the global namespace for the current compilation. And actually, we can just give it this. Do you have to? Yeah, you have to do it public. That kind of stinks, but whatever. Okay. We could say assembly symbol, and then here we just say this dot visit assembly symbol. And this can be internal. Internal. And so we visit the assembly, accept. Accept this. Symbol visitor. So then this will go to the namespace. That namespace or type, which is a namespace symbol. We're going to do that. That should in turn go to visit name type, because that's going to look at all the name types there for that assembly. And if we come all the way back up here, this is we have that. So what we can say here is new compilation types. Why are you not? Compilation. Naming is hard. Yes, and then that. Okay, so now we should be able to say assembly symbol and the token. Dot get types. And we don't actually care about them just being public. We're just going to say types. And we can make that a property, but I just want to move on from now. Okay, so hopefully this solves it. And so we get all the types there. That actually is a nice little find. And then for all the types, we basically want to do this, which is to get a type symbol model. So I think right now then we want to have a static type symbol model question mark get model. And we'll say I named type symbol type. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take, here we'd be getting the declared symbol, and this would be a name type symbol, which is funny because we're making sure it's actually not null. Okay. Except now what we want to do is first check to make sure that it doesn't have this. If type dot get attributes any, if it has this, we return a null. This is determining stuff, but we don't care about that. So we just, well, we do, but so we say get accessible properties. We get the members. And here I want to be a little bit nicer in terms of, I don't know why that's all on one line, but that's okay. There. So that returns a new type symbol. Fine. So now we can say for each var assembly type in that types.add get. Well, only if it's not a null. Our type model is equal to get model given the assembly type. If is not null, then we're going to add it. There. Beauty. And then we can do just the same thing here. We can say that. Except we're going to force it to be a named type symbol. And that's it. We're done. It's all going to work. It's just, it'll all work. It'll all be fine. So basically what we're doing now is we're saying we're looking for this. If the target symbol is on the assembly, then we're going to look for, we're going to collect all the types. We're going to get models for them, and if they're not null, then we're going to add them. Otherwise, on this one, we're going to add it, and if it's not null, we'll add it. But then we get the types, we select many, and we come out and we basically do the hell is this? So this piece of code here, I think, has, what I'm trying to do is look for extension methods. So if I follow the code here, we're saying we want to find a method declaration syntax, and it's static. It has the name deconstruct, because you can actually make deconstruct methods that are extension methods. It has a parameter count greater than 1. Its first one is a this keyword, and the parameterless count, basically all of the other so does the parameter have the out keyword on it? And if it does, that should be equal to -1, because it's basically saying the first parameter is the this and the rest of them are the out parameters. And if that's true, so then why would we be doing a new type symbol model? Look at my docs. Yes, return, void, and all those parameters must be out. So this just shows you what a deconstruct does. Okay, cool. Finds all types of method definition. It'll look to see if the type is any deconstruct methods, either as instance or extension methods. If none exist, then AutoDeconstruct looks to see how many public readable instance properties exist. If there's at least one, the library generates a deconstruct extension method in a static class defined in the same namespace as target type. If we have our point defined like this, then the library generates this. If the target type is a reference type, a null check will be generated. Okay. So what AutoDeconstruct is doing is it's going to be basically, yeah, like this is saying, it generates this in the same namespace, and it will add this deconstruct for you because it doesn't exist. And this does if a deconstruct doesn't exist with the number of properties found. So we say we find this. Let's see, there are 3 properties that could be used for generated deconstruct. The 2 deconstruct methods that exist have 1 and 2 out parameters. So there's 1 on the type, and there's 1 over here that has this. So we'll generate one that has all 3 properties as out. We'll do complete search for types to generate deconstruct methods. User may want to opt out of this, so that's where the no auto comes in. Okay. So now that I've read my own documentation, so we're going to try to find the accessible properties on a given type. And so what we're trying to find is just, this will find any of them. We don't care which one. So now we're getting the actual symbol from the method declaration context. And then we're assuming that the first parameter will be the target of what we're looking for. And then we look for types. And we say, well, let's say this one has 3. And this is equal to the number of parameters, which let's say we found 3, and this one had 4. This almost seems like it's reversed. This almost seems like I have a bug in my code. Because this is just trying to find those methods that basically are extension methods that look like they would be a deconstruct extension method. And we just grab that first parameter, the 0th one, and so we say, let's find 3. Well, if the symbol had 3 there plus the 1, which is going to be 4 minus 1 is 3, and that's equal to that, why would we try to then generate it? It seems like this should be not equal to. But I'm assuming I have tests here. AutoDeconstruct generator extension tests. Yes, we'll come back to that. So this is saying I have a class here, test, that has this property, but there is a deconstruct method that type doesn't match. Right. So in this case, we would make one that outs the ID. Makes sense. Or out parameter count doesn't match. So in this case, we're saying, yes, we target that, but we out a string and we out the int. Because we're just doing some random out value that we can deconstruct from this. Which you can do, odd, but you can do that. This one's saying, well, it didn't match. And so what this would have found here is that this type has one accessible property. And Yeah, I'm a little confused. How does this actually work? Because to me, this is saying, well, here you have a test with this, my extension. So in this case, this matches because you're saying I would have found 1. Parameters length is 2 minus 1 is 1. Therefore, I return this. Why? Sorry if you hear my wife is doing some vacuuming upstairs. I don't get that. And again, you're collecting the ones from the type provider, and you're collecting and combining these so that. Oh, you're saying exclude those. Okay. So we have excluded types, and we're saying for all the types within types here, if it's not an excluded type, then okay. Sorry, that have you ever gone back and looked at your own code and what the hell was I thinking? Well, that's just what I did right now. Yeah. So, yay. But we got to support that with what we're doing here with doing for attribute with metadata name. And so what we want to do is if you're going to give us a name type symbol that doesn't have this on it, we'll then say, well, in this case, you're saying there is a deconstruct on it, on the type itself, so we won't do it. But what we would really like to do now is say, okay, well, let's go through the entire assembly and find all the deconstruct methods that may exist for that given type. And so we kind of need to do this compilation types collector here and expand it a little bit. We want to say, we almost want to say like AutoDeconstruct. Like as soon as we get to a name type symbol here, what we could do is we get assembly name type. Can we override visit method? Yes, we could do that. And so we could visit the assembly. What that would give us is when we visit the method, we'll also look at that and say, does that match one of our cases here? Down here, which is basically, is it static? Does it have this name? Does it have this parameter count? Is the first one of this, which I don't know if you can do. And then what we'll do is for all of those that actually say, yes, this type should be excluded, then when we do this, we can remove them. Oh, I guess it would help to say new. Oh, yeah. Because I keep forgetting that. Okay, cool. So now what we need to do is come down here and basically take this code. So we want to say if symbol is static and symbol.name is equal to we're going to lift this up and we're going to put it into our shared. We don't have a shared. We have a we didn't do a shared. Oh, that was in Transpire. Sorry. Yeah. Internal static class shared. Internal. We'll quickly get rid of this. Wherever that fails, we're going to say shared. Okay, cool. So that does that. This is typical, isn't it? Like you want to do one simple thing and then you realize, wait a minute. Crap. It goes down all these different paths. You're like, oops. Deconstruct name. Okay. And symbol dot parameters dot count should be greater than 1. And now this is the one where it gets tricky. Is there any way that you can determine? Because the other way is doing it from the not the semantic model, the symbol model, that's static, syntax tree model. Took me a second. Syntax tree typey thingies. Is this cool? Thank you. Whew. That saves that. And then we want to do something like and symbol. Why is this complaining here? Oh, is this length? Yeah, okay. Dot parameters dot count of we want to say is out. There's a way to do this. I know there's a way to do this because I was I do it in refkind equals out there. Cool. I knew there was a way to do this. Okay, so we need to do count where the refkind is equal to that is equal to -1. There. So that's actually, so it's looking to see is it static? Does it have the name deconstruct? Does it at least have one parameter? And is the first one of this parameter? And then do we have the number of parameters? We could actually say is the length 2, but whatever. We'll just leave it this way. do we have like at least one parameter that's an out? So we could have 1, and then if there was 2, that'd be 2 minus 1 is 1. So that would say, yes, this is probably something that we want to consider. God, that's loud. That is loud. Okay, so then we get that, and we say, that is one that we want to potentially exclude. Right? But we do it there. Okay, so now we want to say var accessible properties on the symbol. We want to get accessible properties. What is accessible properties? That is on a name type symbol, right? Oh, parameters 0. And then, type. Symbol type as I named type symbol question mark dot that. There we go. Boom. So what does this do? So we're going to get an immutable array. A lot of this was done, like if I'm looking at this, I'm like, you don't have to add a range or whatever. But whatever works. So we will get an immutable array, so we don't have to worry about equatable array is a struct. Yeah, so okay, cool. So now what we do is we say if accessible properties length why would that? Oh, because that could be. And then we want to say that. Ha 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 ha. Sorry. Okay. Is equal to our symbols parameters length minus 1. That is one we want to exclude, because what we're saying here is this dot excluded types add. I want to say here this if symbol parameter type, if that can actually be casted, then let's take all this and put that there. If is. Sorry. I was like, why isn't that working? It's because of that. So now we say that. We know that's going to work. We don't need to do that anymore. And so now what we can say is that. There we go. Okay. And so now what we want to say is after we've done all this, this dot types remove where this dot excluded types contains that. Oh, remove where. Mwah. Of course, now it's not going to work. But that will get us all the types we're looking for, including ones that we want to make an extension method on, because we're going to make it as an extension method. This is one thing too that I was thinking about is, and I mentioned this in my last stream, is what happens if the type is partial? Couldn't we just add if the type is a partial type, then make it as a partial type? The reason we're doing them as extension methods is because we don't know if the type that's being declared is a partial type, or more to the point, we're not looking for that right now. So that might be something to add to my notes here. Consider making the generated extension method part of the type declaration if the type is partial. That would be kind of nice. And then we wouldn't have, then we wouldn't be putting these all into like one big file. So there's some other cleanup that's coming through with this. But again, focus, get it done with what it does right now, and then we can come back and make these other tasks if need be. But I like where this is going so far. Maybe if this all works, which I don't know if it will, but we'll see. Okay. So we got that. Got that. Get rid of the project. So now coming back up here, except we're missing it here. If you're saying at the whole assembly level, it will work, because we're going to get those types. But what we don't do is we don't do it down here. And we don't want to call this unless we have to, unless you've said, I want the whole assembly to be analyzed and source generated. We don't necessarily want to do this. We would like, if we come back to this thing, yeah, so this is just, okay, this is just getting a list of all the unique types within the assembly. And so when we're doing that, we're saying, by the way, if it's one of these, we want to make sure that we exclude that type because we don't want to do anything with it. We could say for visit method here, we could say, well, yeah, but we can't, shoot. This is saying regardless of whether you're doing it from here or here. This one's already been pre-visited. This one isn't. And so what I would like to do is actually well, maybe our assembly types is equal to that. And so in this case, this probably is not very efficient, but type. I can't win, can I? Because I only want to do this once, no matter, because it could find this potentially for, is at the assembly level or, huh. Okay, well, this is saying what target is on. So this has to be for only one. We can't do this. You couldn't pass this in because you may have an attribute that could have multiple targets. And so the context is for the instance here, right? I think. So there. Okay, so we could do that. We could say here, assembly types is for this, which we have to do regardless. Because if we're just getting one type, we still need to look and say, are there any extension methods that match it? So we can take that off now. Again, that feels a little clunky, but oh well. Now what we would do is we would say, this just gets our types. So in this case, these are all the types that would be excluded. What we want to make sure is to say here now, if type symbol, if not type symbol, assembly types contains. If it doesn't contain this, then we can do what we want to do. No. No. What we want to do is have these as separate. Yeah, okay. We want to have public immutable hash set of an I-type symbol, types, get, and then we also want to have excluded types. Because we want to know which ones are the types to target, and that would be ones that don't have to be excluded. But now we want to say is this dot types, this dot excluded types is equal to this dot types, this dot excluded. Except like that. Whoops. There we go. There we go. So now we've preserved these. And so back here we can say, let's change this and say collected types. And now we can say here, in this case, what I want to do is iterate over the types. Oh, sorry. We do want these to be name type symbols. I did that wrong. Okay. That fades away now. Now what we want to say is collected types dot excluded types. Come on. There. If that doesn't contain this specific type, then we can go off and do what we want. Now I think we're actually looking to do what we want to do. But all these we haven't checked to see, is it something that we can actually generate a because this was just looking for types, and this was also just looking for extension methods that may exclude. And in this case, we're saying if one is there that matches perfectly the accessible properties that could be there. So we have to do that calculation twice, but whatever, I can probably make that a little bit better. But this will now give us the type symbol model. I now believe that we want to do is say types collect, but we don't need to combine anymore. And if I remember, there shouldn't be a left or right. Yeah, we just want to do that. Except now we just have types. We don't have excluded types. And we don't have to do this check. A little unnecessary now, but we have that in place. So I need an XML attribute. Fine. I'm actually getting to the point where I need to do some stuff anyway, and I need to take a break for lunch and blah de blah de blah. So I may come back this afternoon and do another stream and see if I can make more progress on this. This did go down some paths that sidetracked me a little bit. I didn't expect to have to do all this stuff, but we'll keep chugging away at it. It's a project that I haven't actually done. If I come back here and look at AutoDeconstruct, thank God for documentation. Yeah, if you look at my commits, the last commit I did to it was almost 2 years ago. So there's definitely some cruft here a little bit, and yeah. So I don't know. You give me an yeah, I took that guy's thing to make it that. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to take a break now. I may come back later this afternoon and continue working on this. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I am trying to slowly but surely get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, so please subscribe and help out for that cause. And with that, I'm going to stop.